There was a village nestled between rolling green hills and vast fields of golden maize, a place where traditions ran deep and every family name carried a legacy. This was the village of Agyaman, where life was dictated by customs that had been honored for generations. Abina was the eldest daughter of Nana Kwabena, a respected elder in the village. At 22, she was known for her beauty, her sharp wit, and her skill in weaving the finest kente cloth in the region. But her heart was heavy, for her father had arranged her marriage to Ose, a wealthy trader from the neighboring village of Aswam. Ose was twice her age, with 3 wives already, but his wealth and influence made him a desirable match in the eyes of her family. Abena, however, had no love for Ose. Her heart belonged to Kwasi, a poor but hard-working farmer who lived on the outskirts of the village. Kwasi was kind, with a gentle smile that could light up even the darkest of days. He had nothing to offer her but his love and a small plot of land where he grew yams and cassava. But to Abena, that was enough. Their love had blossomed in secret, away from the prying eyes of the village. They would meet at the edge of the forest, where the tall grass hid them from view. There, they would talk for hours, dreaming of a future where they could be together. But their dreams were shattered when Abina's father discovered their secret. It happened one evening when Abina returned home later than usual. Her father was waiting for her, his face dark with anger. "Where have you been?" he demanded, his voice low and dangerous. Abena hesitated, her heart pounding in her chest. "I was at the river fetching water," she lied. Nana Kwabena's eyes narrowed. "Do not lie to me, Abena. I know about you and that farmer, Kwasi." Abena's breath caught in her throat. She wanted to deny it, to protect Kwasi, but the look in her father's eyes told her it was too late. "You will marry Ose," her father said, his tone leaving no room for argument. "He is a man of wealth and status. He will provide for you and bring honor to our family. Kwasi is nothing but a poor farmer. He has nothing to offer you." Abena's eyes filled with tears. "But I love him, father," she whispered. Nana Kwabena's expression softened for a moment, but then he shook his head. "Love does not put food on the table, Abena. You will marry Ose, or you will leave this village and never return." The ultimatum hung in the air like a storm cloud, threatening to burst at any moment. Abena felt as though the ground had been ripped out from under her. She had always known that her father was a man of tradition, but she had never imagined he would force her into a marriage she did not want. That night, Abena lay awake, her mind racing. She thought of Kwasi, of the life they could have together, but she also thought of her family, of the shame her defiance would bring upon them. The weight of her decision pressed down on her, threatening to crush her. The next morning, Abena made her choice. She packed a small bundle of clothes and slipped out of the house before the sun had fully risen. She made her way to Kwasi's farm, her heart pounding with every step. Kwasi was already at work, his hands calloused from years of labor. When he saw Abena approaching, his face lit up with a smile. But as he took in the bundle in her hands, his smile faded. "Abena, what is wrong?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. Abena took a deep breath, her hands trembling. "My father has given me an ultimatum. I must marry Ose or leave the village. I cannot marry him, Kwasi. I cannot live a life without love." Kwasi's eyes widened in shock. "Abena, you cannot leave your family. They are all you have." "You are all I have," Abena replied, her voice breaking. "I cannot lose you, Kwasi. I would rather leave the village than live without you." Kwasi hesitated, his heart torn. He loved Abena more than anything, but he knew the consequences of her decision. If she left the village, she would be shunned by her family and the community. She would have nothing but him. But as he looked into her eyes, he saw the determination there. He saw the strength that had always drawn him to her, and he knew that he could not let her go. "Then we will leave together," he said, his voice firm. "We will start a new life, far from here." Abéna's heart swelled with relief and gratitude. She threw her arms around Kwasi, holding him tightly. For the first time in days, she felt a glimmer of hope, but their joy was short-lived. As they made their way to the edge of the village, they were met by a group of elders, led by Nana Kwabena. His face was a mask of anger and disappointment. "Abena, what do you think you are doing?" he demanded, his voice booming. Abena stepped forward, her chin held high. "I am leaving, father. I cannot marry Ose. I love Kwasi and I will not give him up." Nana Kwabena's eyes narrowed. "If you leave this village, you are no longer my daughter. You will be dead to me." The words cut through Abena like a knife, but she did not falter. "I am sorry, father, but I must follow my heart." With that, she turned and walked away, Kwasi by her side. The elders watched in stunned silence as the couple disappeared into the distance. The days that followed were filled with turmoil. The village was abuzz with gossip, and Nana Kwabena's family was the subject of much scrutiny. But as the weeks turned into months, something unexpected happened. The villagers began to question the traditions that had governed their lives for so long. They saw the pain that Abena's departure had caused, and they wondered if the old ways were still worth holding on to. Nana Kwabena too was forced to confront his own beliefs. He missed his daughter more than he cared to admit, and he began to see the world through her eyes. He realized that love was not something to be traded for wealth or status. It was a precious gift, one that should be cherished. One day, Nana Kwabena made the journey to the neighboring village where Abena and Kwasi had settled. He found them living in a small but tidy hut, surrounded by fields of yams and cassava. Abena was hesitant at first, unsure of her father's intentions. But as she looked into his eyes, she saw the love and regret there. "I was wrong, Abena," Nana Kwabena said, his voice filled with emotion. "I should have listened to you. I should have respected your choice." Tears streamed down Abena's face as she embraced her father. In that moment, the wounds of the past began to heal. The story of Abena and Kwasi spread throughout the village, becoming a symbol of love and resilience. It challenged the traditions that had once seemed unbreakable, and it inspired others to follow their hearts. In the end, Abena's choice was not just about love. It was about freedom, about the courage to stand up for what you believe in. And it was a reminder that even in the face of adversity, love has the power to change everything.